Hello everyone, welcome to online CET class. Let us discuss the multiple choice questions on the chapter Ray Optics and Optical Instruments. The angle of a prism is A. One of its refracting surfaces is silvered. Light rays falling at an angle of incidence 2A on the first surface returns back through the same path after suffering reflection at the silvered surface. The refractive index mu of the prism is. See here, we know that I am going to consider principal section of the prism. Angle of prism is angle between any two refracting surfaces, that is A. Here, according to this problem, one of its refracting surface is silvered. So, if one surface is silvered, then this will become a mirror because one surface is optical, another surface will become opaque because it is covered with silver color. Now, the light rays at an angle of incidence 2A. Let us consider the ray of light when it falls on the first surface at an angle of incidence 2A. So let us draw the normal, the line perpendicular to the surface. Angle between incident ray and normal, that gives angle of incidence, it is given 2A. Now here, when this ray of light is refracted, now this refracted ray is going to fall on the second surface. Let us take it as AC. When it falls on the second surface, here this ray of light is returning back through the same path after suffering reflection. That means when this refracted ray falls on the second surface, reflection of light takes place so that this ray of light is returning in the same path but in opposite direction. Right? Now here we know the relation, that is A equal to R1 plus R2. So this equation we already studied in refractive index in terms of angle of minimum deviation and angle of prism. So in that derivation we studied about this equation A equal to R1 plus R2. But here you should remember to retrace the path, light should fall normally. Normally on the reflecting surface. Yes, we know that at normal incidence, the ray of light is undeviated. That means this ray of light has to fall on AC normally. Then only it can retrace its path in the opposite direction. So when it falls normally on this surface, so angle of refraction, that is R2 will be 0. So now you can observe the above equation. A equal to R1 plus R2, R2 is 0. So we will get R1 is equal to A. So angle of refraction, that is here, angle of refraction is how much? A here. Angle of incidence is 2A, angle of refraction is A. Now we got I and R value. Now directly we can use Snell's law. According to Snell's law, we have the equation, the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction remains constant. That constant is called refractive index. Here it is denoted by mu. Now let us substitute the value of I and R. We can write the equation as mu sine R equal to sine I. So mu into sine of angle of refraction, we got A, substitute here. Sine I, angle of incidence is 2A. Or we can write it as mu sine A, keep as it is. Sine of 2A can be written as 2 sine A into cos A. So 2 sine A into cos A, here sine A will get cancelled. So refractive index mu equal to 2 cos A. Right? So refractive index here we will get mu equal to 2 cos A. So option B is right. The refracting angle of a prism is A and refractive index of material of the prism is cot of A by 2. The angle of minimum deviation is, so here refracting angle is given, that is angle of prism is A. Refractive index of the material of the prism, let us take n equal to cot of A divided by 2. Now angle of minimum deviation, which is denoted by D, that we have to calculate. Now here directly we can use the equation n equal to sine of A plus D divided by 2 whole divided by sine of A by 2. This relation we can use to calculate angle of minimum deviation. So in place of n we can write cot of A by 2 equal to RHS side keep as it is sine of A plus D by 2 whole divided by sine of A divided by 2. Now we know that, so instead of writing cot we can write cos by sine. So cos of A by 2 divided by sine of A by 2 is equal to sine of A plus D divided by 2 whole divided by sine of A by 2. So sine of A by 2 will get cancelled here. So we can write cos of A by 2 equal to, remaining is sine of A plus D divided by 2. Here the trigonometric function we got on LHS side is cos, that is cosine. So instead of cosine I am using the sine function. So we can write it as sine of 90 minus theta, that gives cos theta. That is sine of 90 minus A by 2 is equal to sine of A plus D divided by 2. Or we can write it as, so on LHS side we can write directly 90 minus A by 2 is equal to, on RHS side we got A plus D by 2. So here we will get LCM as 2. 90 into 2 will be 180 minus A divided by 2 is equal to A plus D divided by 2. So 2 will get cancelled. So 180 minus A is equal to A plus D, or we can take angle of prism on the same side. So it will become minus A is equal to D. We want angle of minimum deviation. So 180 minus A that gives minus 2A. Angle of minimum deviation is D equal to 180 minus 2A. 180 minus 2A, that option A is right. A thin prism of angle 15 degree made of glass of refractive index mu1 equal to 1.5 is combined with another prism of glass of refractive index mu2 equal to 1.75. The combination of the prism produces dispersion without deviation. Then the angle of second prism should be. So here there are two prisms. So these two prisms are combined here so that dispersion of light takes place without deviation. Now we have to calculate angle of prism, that is angle of second prism we have to calculate. Let us take angle of first prism is A1, it is given, that is 15 degree. So we have to calculate angle of second prism, that is A2 question mark. Refractive index of first prism is given, that is 1.5. Refractive index of second prism is also given, that is 1.75. Here we have the relation D equal to A into N minus 1. So because angle of prism A is given, refractive index N is given, so this is the suitable equation. But here two prisms are combined. When two prisms are combined, then we have to modify that equation. That means, therefore D equal to, for the first prism I can write A1 into N1 minus 1 plus A2 into N2 minus 1, because there are two prisms, both the prisms are combined here. So we are going to modify this equation, or it can be written as Here in the problem they given dispersion of light takes place without deviation. Without deviation means angle of deviation D is equal to 0 because there is no deviation. So after dispersion of light, the ray of light is undeviated. So therefore deviation is 0. This is according to the problem. Deviation is 0. That is D equal to 0. Therefore the above equation we can write it as 0 equal to A1 N1 minus 1 plus A2 N2 minus 1, or we can write it as, so we can take A1 on LHS side minus A1 into N1 minus 1 equal to A2 into N2 minus 1. Now substitute all the values, so easily we will get A2 value. So A1, that is 15 degree minus 15, N1 means this is mu1, N2 means mu2. So N1 value is 1.5 minus 1 equal to A2 keep as it is, N2 is 1.75 minus 1. Now we can write it as A2 equal to minus 15 into 0.75 divided by, this will be 0.5, right? Then here in the denominator we will get 0.75. So by calculating this value we will get A2 equal to minus 10 degree. So after calculation we got angle of second prism as minus 10 degree. So then what this negative sign indicates? Remember, negative sign shows that the second prism is inverted with respect to first prism. If this is a first prism, then second prism will be inverted with respect to first one. So negative sign shows that the second prism is inverted with respect to first prism. So A2 equal to 10 degree means the option B is right. A prism has a refracting angle of 60 degree. When placed in the position of minimum deviation, it produces a deviation of 30 degree. Then angle of incidence is, see here, a prism has a refracting angle of 60 degree. Refracting angle means that is angle of prism A equal to 60 degree. When it is placed at a minimum deviation, it produces, minimum deviation means that is D value is given 30 degree. So we want angle of incidence, that is I. Yes, we know the relation between AID, that is I equal to A plus D divided by 2. Directly we can use this equation. Substitute the value 60 plus 30 divided by 2. So we will get angle of incidence as 45 degree. So we should know the relation between AI and D. That is I equal to A plus D by 2. So angle of incidence is 45 degree. Option B is right. A ray of light passes through an equilateral prism such that the angle of incidence is equal to angle of emergence and the latter is equal to 3/4 of the angle of prism. Then angle of deviation is, see here in this problem, angle of incidence, angle of emergence are equal. That means angle of incidence means, let us take it as I1, angle of emergence is taken as I2. Here I1 and I2 are equal, and which is equal to 3/4 of the angle of prism. That means, see here, I1 is equal to I2 because angle of incidence is equal to angle of emergence. It is given in the problem. And this is equal to 3/4 of angle of prism. Correct? I1 equal to I2 equal to 3/4 times of angle of prism. Now we have to calculate angle of deviation, that is capital D we have to calculate. Now we know the relation, that is A plus D equal to I1 plus I2. This relation we can use here. So we want D, therefore D equal to, we can write it as I1 plus I2 minus A. Substitute the value. Here we know I1 and I2 are equal, right? Which is equal to 3 by 4 times of A. So in place of I1 I can write 3 by 4 into A plus I2 is again 3 by 4 into A minus A capacities. Now calculate these value. We will get D equal to, after calculating I got D equal to A by 2. Right? But here this is equilateral prism. Equilateral prism means angle of prism will be 60 degree. See here, for equilateral prism we know that A equal to 60 degree. Substitute here D equal to 60 by 2. So 60 by 2 means 30 degree. So angle of deviation is 30 degree. So option D is right. The focal length of objective of a telescope is 60 centimeter. To obtain a magnification of 20, the focal length of eyepiece should be. See here, this is a telescope. We already know that telescope has two lenses, that is objective lens and eyepiece, right? So in this problem, focal length of objective lens is given. Then magnifying power of telescope is also given. So we have to calculate focal length of eyepiece. So focal length of objective lens is denoted by FO, is given 60 centimeter. Then magnification, linear magnifying power M is given, that is 20. We have to calculate focal length of eyepiece, that is FE. So we already derived magnifying power of telescope in our regular classes, that is magnifying power of telescope is given by M equal to FO divided by FE. Use this equation, substitute the value, so we will get focal length of eyepiece. M value is given 20 equal to FO is given 60 divided by FE capacities, or FE equal to 60 divided by 20. So FE will be, so 60 by 20 is 3 centimeter. So focal length of eyepiece is 3 centimeter. Remember, focal length of eyepiece is always smaller than focal length of objective lens, because aperture of objective lens is greater than eyepiece in the telescope. So focal length of eyepiece is 3 centimeter, that is option B. The focal lengths of objective and eye lens of an astronomical telescope are respectively 2 meter and 5 centimeter. Final image is formed at, first case, least distance of distinct vision. Second case, infinity magnifying power in two cases will be. See here, focal length of objective lens and eye lens is already given, that is 2 meter and 5 centimeter. So let us write focal length of objective is 2 meter, which is equal to 200 centimeter. Then focal length of eyepiece is given, that is 5 centimeter. Then come to the first case. First case is at least distance of distinct vision. This is at least distance, right? So we have the equation for magnifying power of telescope, that is M equal to minus FO divided by FE into 1 plus FE divided by capital D. So this is magnifying power of telescope at least distance of distinct vision, right? Remember, for normal eye, what is the value of least distance? For normal eye, least distance is always 25 centimeter. right? Now substitute all the values in the above equation. M equal to minus FO value is 200 divided by 5 into 1 plus FE is 5 divided by least distance of distinct vision for the normal eye is 25 centimeter. Substitute all the values. So we will get M equal to minus 48. So after calculating these value, we will get M equal to minus 48. This is first case which is at least distance. Now come to the second case. Here it is at infinity, right? Image at infinity. So we have the equation M equal to minus FO divided by FE. So M equal to minus FO value will be 200 divided by 5. So M we got minus 40, right? At least distance we got minus 48 and at infinity we got minus 40. This is magnifying power of astronomical telescope. So minus 48 minus 40, that is option A is right. A simple telescope consisting of an objective of focal length 60 cm and a single eye lens of focal length 5 cm is focused on a distinct object in such a way that parallel rays emerge from the eye lens. If the object subtends at an angle of 2 degrees at the objective, the angular width of the image is. See here, this is a simple telescope. Objective lens focal length is given, that is 60 centimeter. So let us take it as FO is 60 centimeter. And a single eye lens, then focal length of eye lens is given 5 centimeter. Let us take it as FE equal to 5 centimeter. Then here it is focused for a distant object in such a way that parallel rays emerge from the eye lens. Then if the object subtends an angle of 2 degree. So what is this 2 degree? We know that M equal to beta divided by alpha. So what is beta and alpha? Beta indicates visual angle subtended by image. Alpha indicates visual angle subtended by object. So here this angle is subtended by object. Object subtends angle 2 degree. That means alpha is given 2 degree. Right? Then the angular width of the image is. That means we have to calculate visual angle subtended by image or angular width of the image. Beta we have to calculate. Now we have the equation M equal to beta by alpha, or we can write it as M equal to focal length of objective with respect to focal length of eyepiece. So using these two equations we can write FO divided by FE equal to beta divided by alpha. Substitute all the values, then we will get beta. 60 centimeter divided by 5 equal to beta capacities divided by 2. Therefore, beta equal to, we can write it as 60 by 5 into 2. So, we will get beta equal to 24 degree. This is the visual angle subtended by image at the eye. So, B equal to 24 degree, option B is right. Convergent doublet of two lenses in contact has a power of 2 diopter. The convex lens has power 5 diopter. What is the ratio of dispersive powers of convergent and divergent lenses? See here, the convergent doublet having power 2 diopter and the convex lens is having power 5 diopter. So let us write convergent doublet. Let us take it as power P equal to 2 diopter and only convex lens having convex lens having the power, let us take it as P1 equal to 5 diopter. Now we have to calculate the ratio of power of convergent to the divergent lenses. Let us take it as power of convergent PC divided by power of divergent, that is PD. we have to calculate. Yes, we know that P equal to P1 plus P2, right? Combination of thin lenses in contact, there we studied. P equal to P1 plus P2. So P value is, that is convergent doublet of two lenses is given 2 diopter. P1 value is 5 diopter. P2 keep as it is. Therefore we got P2 value as minus 3 diopter. Right? Now we got P1, P2 and P value. Now we can calculate the dispersive powers, the ratio of dispersive power. See here, we want the ratio of convergent to divergent power, that is PC divided by PD. So here which is equal to dispersive power omega 1 divided by omega 2, right? So then we can write dispersive power which is equal to, for convergent and divergent lenses, so F1 divided by, for divergent we got minus F2 is equal to, we know that power and focal length both are inversely proportional because P equal to 1 by F. We know that equation. So we can write it as, that is minus P2 divided by P1 because both are inversely proportional. Now substitute the value of P1 and P2. Minus keep as it is. P2 is minus 3 divided by P1 is given 5 diopter. Minus into minus will be plus. So we got 3 divided by 5. So this is dispersive power, the ratio of dispersive power of convergent and divergent lenses. So 3:5, option B is right. The dispersive power of material of a lens of focal length 20 cm is 0.08. What is the longitudinal chromatic aberration of the lens? See here, the focal length of the given lens is given, let us take it as 20 cm, and its dispersive power is given which is denoted by omega, that is 0.08. Now we have to calculate longitudinal chromatic aberration. So what it means? Remember, if a lens cannot focus different colors of light in the same focal plane, then we can call it as longitudinal chromatic aberration. That means if a lens cannot focus different colors of light in the same focal plane, then we can call it as longitudinal chromatic aberration, right? So this equation is given by, that is focal length into dispersive power, that is omega into F. This equation you have to remember. So what is longitudinal chromatic aberration? If a lens cannot focus different colors of light in the same focal plane. We know that white light is split into 7 colors. If all the different colors, if they are not focused at the same plane, then we can call it as longitudinal chromatic aberration, which is given by the equation dispersive power into its focal length. Right. So omega into F, here omega and F values are given 0.08 into 20 centimeter. So multiply these two values, we will get 1.6 centimeter. So 1.6 centimeter, that is option C is right. A plano-convex lens of focal length 16 centimeter is to be made of glass of refractive index 1.5. The radius of curvature of the curved surface should be, remember this is a plano-convex lens. Plano-convex lens means, remember one surface is curved surface, another surface is completely plane, so we can call it as plano-convex lens, right? Or instead of this you can take the plano-convex means first surface you can take a plane and the second surface is a curved surface, right? Now here first concentrate on the givens. Here focal length is given, that is f equal to 16 centimeter. Then refractive index of the lens is given, n equal to 1.5. The radius of curvature of the curved surface should be curved surface. Here the radius of curvature of this surface we have to calculate. Right, now we know that the radius of curvature of this surface, here it will be on this side. This is a principal axis. Here we will get, this is R1, here we will get R2, right? So we have to calculate radius of curvature of curved surface. For the surface we have to calculate R1. So let us calculate R1. Then what is the value of R2? What is R2? R2 is a radius of curvature of the plane surface. Remember, for the plane surface we will get its radius at infinity, because this is a plane surface. For the plane surface, radius of curvature is infinity. Right, now directly we can use the equation 1 by f equal to n21 minus 1 into 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. Substitute the values. 1 divided by 16 equal to n21. Here this is a lens made of glass material. This is air. Air, let us take refractive index is 1. Here glass refractive index it is given 1.5. So n21 means we can write it as n2 divided by n1, 1.5 divided by 1 minus 1 into 1 divided by r1 we have to calculate, keep as it is, minus 1 by r2. So r2 means radius of curvature of the plane surface which is at infinity. Now calculate the value of r1. 1 by 16 equal to, so we will get 0.5 into 1 divided by r1. So therefore r1 we will get, after calculating the radius of curvature of the curved surface, so we got 8 centimeter. r1 equal to 8 centimeter, that is option A is right. 5 meter and far point is 3 meter. Power of spectacle lenses required for reading purposes and seeing distant objects respectively are. So we have to calculate power of the spectacles in two cases. That is, the first case is for reading purpose. For reading purpose, first we have to consider least distance of distinct vision for the normal eye. For normal eye, we know that least distance of distinct vision, least distance of distinct vision is 25 centimeter, right? So now let us take it as the near point object distance as 25 centimeter and the person's near point, here it is given 0.5 meter. So or we can write in terms of centimeter, that is 50 centimeter. See here, let us write u equal to minus 25 centimeter is object distance, because this is for normal eye. And the person's near point is how much? 0.5 meter. Let us take it as 50 centimeter. Again I am going to write minus. So because we know that according to Cartesian sign convention, if the directions are opposite to the incident ray, then we can write it as negative, right? Then using thin lens formula, we know that 1 by f equal to 1 by v minus 1 divided by u. Substitute all the values. 1 divided by f equal to 1 divided by minus 50, minus into minus will be plus, 1 divided by 25. So we got focal length is 50 centimeter. So this is focal length, but we want power, that is P equal to 1 divided by F. So 1 by 50. So 1 by 50 centimeter it is. Convert in terms of meter. That is 1 by 0.5 meter. So we got power of spectacle in the first case is 1 by 0.5, that gives 2 diopter. This is power of spectacle in the first case, that is for reading purposes. Then in the second case, to see the distant objects. So for distant objects, person far point is already given. That is person's far point is given 3 meter. So which is equivalent to focal length, because focal length is distance between optic center to principal focus, where the light radiations are going to focus at the single point. So here person's far point is equal to focal length, that is focal length which is denoted by F or which is equal to far point, both are same. So here it is again negative, so we can write it as minus 3 meter. Then we have the equation P equal to 1 by F. So P equal to 1 divided by F value is minus 3. So 1 by minus 3. So the answer is 0.33 diopter. So this is second case. That is power of spectacles to see the distant objects. So power of spectacles in the both cases we got 2 diopter and minus 0.33 diopter, that is option C is right. Two thin lenses are in contact and the focal length of combination is 80 centimeter. If the focal length of one lens is 20 centimeter, then the power of other lens will be. See here, this is the combination of two thin lenses in contact. In that focal length of this combination is given, that is effective focal length F equal to 80 centimeter is given. Then focal length of only one lens, that is F1 is given 20 centimeter. Then we have to calculate the power of other lens. That means we know P1 value because P equal to 1 by F1. So 1 by F1 means we will get 1 by 20 centimeter, or we can write it as 0.2 diopter. This is P1 value. Similarly, we have to calculate P2 value, right? Or we can directly use the equation 1 by F equal to 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2. This is combination of thin lenses in contact, or we can write it as P equal to P1 plus P2. Now substitute the values. We want P2 value. So P2 equal to, we can write it as P minus P1. So P2 equal to, instead of P we can write it as 1 by F minus 1 divided by F1. Now substitute the values. 1 divided by 80 minus 1 divided by F1 is 20. So calculate these value. We will get P2 equal to, that is minus 0.0375. So here it is in terms of centimeter, convert into meter. So we will get P2 equal to minus 3.75 diopter. So the power of the other lens is 3.75 diopter. That is option D is right. A thin convergent glass lens, refractive index mu is equal to 1.5, has a power of 5 diopter. When this lens is immersed in a liquid of refractive index mu, it acts as a divergent lens of focal length 100 centimeter. Then the value of P must be. See here, there are two cases. In the first case, refractive index of convergent lens, that is convergent lens is also called as convex lens. Here it is given mu g equal to 1.5. And also the power is given, let us take it as P1 is 5 diopter. So this is related to convergent glass lens, that means convex lens. Then when it is immersed in a liquid, then refractive index is mu. when it is immersed in the liquid, let us take refractive index is mu, and it acts as a divergent lens of focal length. Let us take it as f2. f2 is given 100 centimeter. So this is related to divergent lens, that means concave lens. Then the value of P must be, we have to calculate the value of P. Here P2 value, P2 equal to 1 by f2. So 100 centimeter means 1 meter. So 1 by 1 is 1 diopter. This is the value of P2. So we know the value of P1 and P2. So we have to calculate the value of P. Now here we can consider there are two cases. In the first case, that convergent lens is in the air medium. So we can use the equation. We know that the equation 1 by f equal to n21 minus 1 into 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. Or instead of 1 by f, we can write it as P1 equal to 1 by f1, which is equal to n21 minus 1, that is refractive index of glass with respect to air. This is first case. 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2, keep as it is. Let us take it as equation number 1. Then when this lens is immersed in liquid, the equation can be written as P2 equal to, for the second case, 1 by f2 is equal to, this is refractive index of glass with respect to liquid. So we can write it as Ng divided by NL minus 1 into 1 by R1 minus 1 divided by R2. Let us take it as equation 2. Now dividing these two equations, equation 1 divided by equation 2. So we can write P1 divided by P2 equal to, so here Ng divided by Na minus 1, that means 1.5 minus 1, because Na value is 1, refractive index of air is 1, divided by Ng divided by NL, that is 1.5 divided by NL, let us take it as mu minus 1. So 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2 will get cancelled. So now calculate this value, substitute the value of P1 and P2. So P1, P2 value is, that is 5 divided by 1 equal to, we will get 1.5 minus 1 is 0.5 divided by, keep as it is, 1.5 divided by mu minus 1. So after calculating this value, we will get refractive index in liquid, that is mu equal to 5 divided by 3. Right? So 5 by 3 will be option B is right. So this is the value of mu. Refractive index value is 5 by 3. That is option B. The refractive index of a glass is 1.520 for red light and 1.525 for blue light. Let D1 and D2 be the angle of minimum deviation for red and blue light respectively in a prism of this glass. Then see here, refractive index of glass for red and blue light is given. So refractive index is denoted by N. For red light we can write NR, that is 1.520. Similarly for blue light, let us take it as NB equal to 1.525. This is refractive indices of red and blue color light. So we have the equation D equal to A into N minus 1. This is angle of minimum deviation. Remember, when white light is splitted into 7 colors, let us consider a thin prism. This is a principal section of the prism. When a white light enters the prism, it is splitted into 7 colors. That is from violet to red color. Remember, so violet, indigo, blue color. So these light radiations are bending more. So refraction of light takes place. When it bends more, we know that the speed of light decreases so that it is bending towards the normal. That indicates From violet to red color, speed of these different colors go on increases. So speed is increasing. So red color is least deviated because speed is more. Violet color is most deviated because speed is very less. So when speed is less, its wavelength is also very small. So we can write, so wavelength of blue color light is less than wavelength of red light. Right? Or in terms of refractive indexes, we know that is here if lambda b is less than lambda r, then here refractive indices of red color is smaller than refractive indices of blue color. So when refractive indices of red color is smaller than blue, therefore we can write, so that is d1 is less than d2. Right? So angle of minimum deviation for red is less than angle of minimum deviation for blue. So red color is least deviated and blue color is most deviated. So D1 is less than D2, that is option A. The refractive index of a material of a prism is √2 and its refractive angle is 30 degree. One of the refracting surfaces of the prism is made a mirror inwards. A beam of monochromatic light enters the prism from the mirrored surface if its angle of incidence of the prism is. See here, according to this problem, one surface of the prism is mirror. That means, let us make the one surface is covered with silver color, so it is acting as a mirror. When a ray of light falls on the first surface of the prism, refraction of light takes place. So this refracted ray is going to fall on the second surface. Now let us take this is a normal. So in this problem, refracting angle is given, that is 30 degree. Let us take angle of refraction is given 30 degree. Now directly we can use Snell's law here. See here, refractive index of material of the prism is given. This prism is kept in atmosphere. So refractive index of air is 1. Refractive index of this prism is given, that is √2. That is N1 and N2 are given. And also angle of prism is given, that is 30 degree, which is equal to refracting angle, that is angle of refraction. Then we have to calculate angle of incidence. So we have the equation A equal to R1 plus R2. Right? A equal to R1 plus, in place of R2 I am going to write 0, because when this refracted ray falls on the surface AC, this ray of light is turning back in the same path in opposite direction because the outward surface is opaque medium. So refracting angle or angle of refraction for the second surface is 0. So we got R1 equal to A. So A value is already given 30 degree. Right? So R1 is how much? 30 degree. Then now we can use Snell's law. So using Snell's law, we have the equation, that is ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction remains constant. That constant is called refractive index. So that is N2 divided by N1. Now substitute the value. Sine I divided by sine 30 degree is equal to N2 is √2, N1 is 1. Or we can write it as sine I divided by sine 30 is 1 by 2 is equal to √2, or sine I equal to √2 into 1 by 2, or we will get sine I equal to 1 by √2. So sine I equal to 1 by √2 means I equal to 45 degree. So angle of incidence is 45 degree, that is option B is right. For angle of minimum deviation of a prism to be equal to its refracting angle, the prism must be made of a material whose refractive index is. for angle of minimum deviation which is equal to refracting angle. See here, for angle of minimum deviation we have the equation A plus D equal to I1 plus I2, or we can write it as D equal to I1 plus I2 minus A, right? But here in this problem, angle of minimum deviation is equal to its refracting angle. So we can write, let us take D equal to I1 plus I2 minus A, let us take it as equation 1. For minimum deviation, here it is given in the problem, minimum deviation is equal to refracting angle A. Therefore, above equation will become A equal to I1 plus I2 minus A. So, A plus A will be 2A equal to I1 plus I2. Now, let us take it as equation number 2. But in case of minimum deviation, remember, angle of incidence, angle of emergence, both are equal. We already studied in the derivation, that is refractive index in terms of angle of prism and angle of minimum deviation. You can remember this graph, which is angle of incidence versus angle of deviation. As angle of incidence increases, angle of deviation decreases, then it reaches minimum value, again it starts to increase. At this condition, at minimum deviation, I1 and I2 both are equal. So I1, I2 are equal here. So the above equation can be written as 2A equal to I1 plus I2. Both are equal here. Let us take in general I1 and I2 as I. So 2A equal to I. Similarly, for angle of refraction, so we can write R1 and R2 are equal. So R1, R2 is equal to A by 2. Right? That means angle of incidence we got A, angle of refraction is A by 2. Now, from this Snell's law, we have the equation N1 sin I equal to N2 sin R. Let us use Snell's law. That is N1 sin I is equal to N2 sin R. Substitute the value. Refractive index of air is 1. Leave it. Remaining is sin A is equal to N2 sin R. In place of R, we can write A by 2. Then sin A can be written as, this is trigonometric identities we can use here. That is 2 into sin of A by 2 into cos of A by 2 is equal to N2 sin of A by 2. So here sin of A by 2 will get cancelled. So we got N2 equal to 2 cos of A divided by 2. Right? Let us take it as equation number 3. Then here for minimum deviation, for minimum angle of incidence, see here, let us take the first case. At minimum angle of incidence, at minimum angle of incidence, see here for the trigonometry function cosine, for minimum value we can take theta equal to 90 degree, for maximum value we can take theta equal to 0 degree. So here at minimum angle of deviation I am going to consider A equal to 90 degree. Substitute in equation number 3. That is N2 equal to, we will get 2 cos of 90 by 2 will be 45 degree. Cos 45 is 1 by root 2. So we will get 2 into 1 by root 2, or by calculating this value we will get N2 equal to root 2. This is for minimum angle of incidence. Similarly for maximum angle of incidence, at maximum angle of incidence, At maximum angle of incidence, we have to take angle is 0 for cosine function. Substitute here n2 equal to 2 into cos 0. So 2 cos 0 will be 1. So remaining is 2. So we got n2 equal to 2. Remember, for minimum angle of incidence, the refractive index is root 2, for maximum 2. That means it lies between root 2 and 2. So that is option B. So this will be root 2 and 2. The magnifying power of telescope is 9. When it is adjusted for parallel rays, the distance between objective and eyepiece is found to be 20 cm. The focal length of the lenses are. See here, magnifying power of telescope is given m equal to 9. When it is adjusted for the parallel rays, then distance between objective and the eyepiece is given. That is 20 centimeter. That is distance between objective and eyepiece means FO plus FE is given. That is 20 centimeter. Then we have to calculate focal length of lenses. That is FO and FE individually we have to calculate. So we know the relation M equal to FO divided by FE. Right? So we can use this relation because here M value is given 9 equal to FO divided by FE. Therefore, FO equal to, we will get 9 times of FE. We can use this equation to calculate focal length of each lens. Now here we have the equation. Therefore, we can use FO plus FE is equal to how much? 20 centimeter. In place of FO, we can write 9 FE plus FE equal to 20. So that will be 10 FE equal to 20. FE equal to 20 divided by 10. So FE is how much? 2 centimeter. This is focal length of eyepiece. Similarly, here you can substitute the value of FE here. 9 into FE is 2. So FO equal to 18 centimeter. This is focal length of objective lens. So for each lens we got 18 centimeter and 2 centimeter. That is option A. Wavelength of light used in an optical instrument are lambda 1 is 4000 angstrom unit and lambda 2 is 5000 angstrom unit. Then the ratio of their respective resolving powers corresponding to lambda 1 and lambda 2 is. So we know that resolving power is inversely proportional to wavelength. Resolving power is inversely proportional to wavelength denoted by lambda. So we can use this equation. Hence, resolving power of the first one with respect to resolving power of the second, which gives it is inversely proportional. So we can write it as lambda 2 divided by lambda 1. So lambda 2, lambda 1 values are given. That is 5000 angstrom unit divided by 4000 angstrom unit. That gives 5 divided by 4. So 5 is to 4. That is option D is right.
A ray of light traveling in a transparent medium of refractive index mu falls on a surface separating the medium from air at an angle of incidence 45 degree. For which of the following value of mu the ray can undergo total internal reflection? So for TIR, we know the relation. We have the condition only when angle of incidence is greater than critical angle, then total internal reflection of light takes place. So here for TIR, sin I should be greater than sin C, right? But we know that what is sin C? So sin C is equal to 1 divided by n, that gives relation between critical angle and refractive index. Or this equation can be written as sin I is greater than 1 divided by n. Or we can write it as, in place of sin I is greater than 1, or we can write it as n is greater than 1 divided by sine I. So therefore, n is greater than 1 divided by sine I. I value is given how much? 45 degree. So sine 45. So n is greater than 1 divided by sine 45 is 1 by root 2. So n is greater than root 2. So here the ray can undergo total internal reflection which is having the value n is greater than root 2. Greater than 1.414. n is greater than 1.414 means it is equal to 1.5. It is greater than 1.41. So option C is right. The critical angle for light going from medium X into medium Y is theta. The speed of light in medium X is V, then speed of light in medium Y is. See here, let us consider this is interface which separates two media. The first medium is X, second medium is Y. Speed of light in the first medium is, let us given it is V, and speed of light in the medium Y that we have to calculate. So remember, speed of light means it is measured by refractive index. So n1 is given V, so n2 we have to calculate, right? Because refractive index measures speed of light in the given medium. Here the ray of light is traveling from X medium to Y medium having critical angle theta, right? Now we have to calculate speed of light in the Y medium. We know the relation between critical angle and refractive index, that is sin C equal to 1 divided by n. But here we have to calculate the speed of light in Y medium. So we can write it as sin C. Instead of C, here theta is given critical angle. Sin theta equal to, let us write it as V divided by n. That means n is speed of light in X medium. V is speed of light in the Y medium, right? Because n indicates refractive index. Refractive index in general, it means it measures the speed of light. So we can write it as n equal to V divided by sin theta, right? So speed of light in the Y medium is given by V divided by sin theta. So that V by sin theta, option B is right. A plano-convex lens is made of material of refractive index 1.6. The radius of curvature of the curved surface is 60 cm. Then the focal length of the lens is. So this is a plano-convex lens. So plano-convex lens means lens is bounded by two surfaces. Here one surface is plane, another surface is a curved surface. Now let us draw, this is a principal axis. The first surface is having radius of curvature on right side. Let us take it as R1. And the second curved surface is having radius of curvature on left side. Let us take it as R2. So here R1, R2 value is given. So refractive index of this lens is given n equal to 1.6. Radius of curvature of the curved surface means R2 is given 60 centimeter. Then radius of curvature of the first surface, that is plane surface. Remember, the plane surface is having a radius of curvature at infinity. R1 equal to infinity. So now we have to calculate focal length. So we can use lens maker's formula, that is 1 by f equal to n21 minus 1 into 1 divided by R1 minus 1 divided by R2. Substitute the value. 1 by f equal to n21 means n2 divided by n1. Refractive index of second medium is glass. With respect to refractive index of first medium is air. So n2 is given 1.6. n1 is air, which is equal to 1. So we can write 1.6 divided by 1 minus 1 into 1 by R1 minus R2. 1 by R1 is infinity, R2 is 60 centimeter. Substitute the value. So we will get F equal to 1 divided by 0.01. So 1 by 0.01 is equal to 100 centimeter. So focal length of the lens is 100 centimeter. A double convex lens of focal length 6 cm is made of glass of refractive index 1.5. The radius of curvature of one surface is double that of the other surface. The value of small radius of curvature is. So this is a convex lens, that means which is thicker at the center than at the edges. The first surface is having radius of curvature on the right side. Let us take it as R1. The second surface is having radius of curvature on the left side. Let us take it as R2. So in the problem, focal length is given, that is 6 cm. Refractive index is given 1.5. The radius of curvature of one surface is double that of the other surface. That means if R1 is equal to R, then R2 is doubled. That will become 2R. Now we have to calculate the value of small radius of curvature. That means we have to calculate the value of R1 or the value of R. So we know the relation between F, N and R, that is 1 by F equal to N minus 1 into 1 by R1 minus 1 divided by R2. Substitute the value. Focal length is 6 cm. Then refractive index of glass is 1.5. So we can write as N21. N2 divided by N1 minus 1 into 1 divided by R1. So R1 is equal to R minus 1 divided by R2. So R2 is 2R. Then, so here this R2 is opposite to the direction of incident ray. So let us take it as minus 2R. Now calculate this value. 1 by 6 equal to N2 divided by N1. Second medium is glass. First medium is air. So N2 value is 1.5. N1 value, that is refractive index of air, is equal to 1. So we can write 1.5 minus 1 into 1 divided by R. Minus into minus will be plus 1 divided by 2R. So calculate this value. So we will get 1 by 6 equal to 0.5 into 3 divided by 2R. So therefore R equal to 4.5 centimeter. So 4.5 centimeter, that option B is right. Two identical thin plano-convex glass lenses of refractive index 1.5, each having radius of curvature 20 cm, are placed with their convex surfaces in contact at the center. The intervening space is filled with oil of refractive index 1.7. The focal length of the combination is. So this is a plano-convex lens having radius of curvature 20 cm. Then this intervening medium, it is filled with the oil. So see here, this is a plano-convex lens. This is plano-convex lens. There are two plano-convex lens here. Let us take one more plano-convex lens. Right. Now this is filled with the oil. This is intervening space. Now you can observe the diagram. So this is plano-convex lens and this is concave lens, but it is made of oil, and the third one is again plano-convex lens. Right. Now refractive index of this plano-convex lens is given. So let us take it as N equal to 1.5, and here it is having refractive index, that is 1.7. N equal to 1.7. Again the third one, plano-convex lens, is having made of glass. Plano-convex lens is having refractive index again 1.5. Now we have to calculate the focal length of the combination. See here we have the combination of lenses in contact equation, that is effective focal length 1 by F equal to 1 by F1 plus 1 by F2 plus 1 by F3. So this relation we can use here. First we have to calculate F1, F2 and F3. substitute here, we will get effective length of this combination. Now, the first one, that is 1 by F1 equal to, we can write it as n minus 1, 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. This equation we can use here. 1 divided by F1 equal to n minus 1. Here it is made of glass and air. Glass with respect to air, we can take it as 1.5 minus 1 into 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. So 1 by R1. So R1 means it is a plane surface. So that is equal to infinity. And R2 is given. Here we will get R2. So R2 is given, that is 20 centimeter. But it is opposite to the direction of incident ray. So it will become minus 20. 1 by infinity minus 1 divided by minus 20 centimeter. So calculate this value, we will get F1 equal to 40 centimeter. This is focal length of first plano-convex lens. Then what about F3? F3 and F1 both are same because both are plano-convex lens which are made of glass medium. So F1 and F3 both are equal. Again, not necessary to calculate F3 value because both are made of same material, that is glass. F1, F3 value is 40 centimeter. Now we have to calculate F2. F2 is related to focal length of concave lens which is made of oil having refractive index 1.7. Now again I am going to use the same equation. 1 by F2 equal to n minus 1, 1 divided by R1 minus 1 divided by R2. So the same equation we can use here. So n is refractive index of concave lens which is made of oil, that is 1.7 minus 1 into 1 divided by R1 minus R2. See here R1 here we can get R2 value. On the right side we will get here. So this is R2 and here we will get R1 value of concave lens. So R1 will be minus 20 and R2 will be plus 20. So 1 divided by minus 20 minus 1 divided by plus 20. So calculate this value. We will get F2 equal to minus 0.7 divided by 10 centimeter. So this is the value of F2. Right. Now this is the value of 1 by F2. Now substitute all the value here. 1 by F equal to 1 by 40 centimeter minus 0.7 divided by 10 plus 1 by 40. Substitute all the value, we will get F equal to minus 50 centimeter. So focal length of this combination is minus 50 centimeter, that is option B. A luminous object is placed at a distance of 30 centimeter from convex lens of focal length 20 centimeter. First I am going to consider a convex lens of focal length 20 centimeter. Let us take the object is here. A luminous object is placed at 30 centimeter from the convex lens having focal length 20 centimeter. Then on the other side of the lens, at what distance from the lens a convex mirror? Let us draw convex mirror here. So we don't know the accurate position of the convex lens, that we have to calculate, but its radius of curvature is given 10 centimeter. So this is center of curvature, so that the distance between pole and center of curvature is given, that is radius 10 centimeter. Then it will be placed in order to have an upright image of the object coincident with it. See here, when light radiations are emitted from this luminous object, now it falls on the lens. 2 times refraction of light takes place. These refracted rays are going to fall on this convex mirror. When it falls on the convex mirror, diverging of light takes place, so that it appears to coming from the point. That point we are going to consider as image. Now the question is, at what distance from the lens convex mirror can be placed, so that we should get the image of the object coincident with it. That means after reflection from this mirror, this reflected ray has to travel in the same path so that again it is coincident with the object in the upright direction. See here, object distance is given, that is 30 centimeter. It is opposite to the direction of incident ray, so it will be minus 30. Focal length of convex lens is given 20 centimeter. And also radius of curvature of the mirror is given 10 centimeter. So we know thin lens formula, that is 1 by f equal to 1 divided by v minus 1 divided by u. Focal length is given 20 centimeter. 1 by v keep as it is. Minus into minus will be plus 1 by 30. So we will get v equal to 60 centimeter. So this is image distance. Image distance is how much? 60 centimeter. Here is the image. But remember, this image and the object will be coincide only when image is formed at center of curvature. Image is formed at center of curvature, then coincidence is possible. That means the rays refracting through the lens, these refracted rays will fall normally on the convex mirror. When it is at normal incidence, then it retraces the same path, so that this image is again formed at point O. Right? Here radius of curvature is given 10 centimeter. So the distance between lens and the mirror should be how much? So now it is, we got image distance is 60 centimeter minus of 10 centimeter, that gives 50 centimeter. So 60 minus 10 is equal to 50 centimeter. That means at 50 centimeter we have to keep this mirror to get the image at the same object O. So 50 centimeter is its position of the mirror, that is option C.